Live cold calling. Hey gang, this is Mike with MrNoFluff.com, and today I'm going to have one of my students share with you their cold calling call to a homeowner to structure a deal where she can buy the property at a deep discount. Usually means 50%, 40% off the fair market price, or structure a deal like seller financing or subject twos where she doesn't have to go to a bank to get the purchase price money, or she doesn't have to go to a lender to get into debt, is basically what I'm saying. Now go ahead and click the like button and let's get this video out because she did a lot of hard work to go into it. More importantly, I'm gonna audit her to help her overcome her ego, because a lot of times our ego gets in front of her faces, and therefore we can't score a goal because we're not willing to let go. Okay, and realize that we make mistakes. But she does a lot of great stuff in here. But I'm going to be focused on both, letting you know what the stuff she did great and a whole lot of stuff that she needs to improve on. So without any further delay, let's get started. Again, click the like button. This is a live call. Let's share this message. And if you want to get more, learn more about real estate, cold calling, sales, negotiation, funnel automations, websites, entrepreneurship. Doesn't matter if you're an investor, real estate agent, or business owner, then you definitely want to join my mastermind. We meet every week, and for the price of $19 a week, you get to have access to me to help you what I'm about to do for my student. Okay, it's called the Abundance Club. So let's go ahead and get started without any further delay. If you have any questions, leave a comment. All right.
Hello?
Hi, yes sir. I'm calling about your house in Plano.
Yeah. Can I help you?
Hi there, yeah.
Okay. Two things I want you to think about right now is that when she called in, she didn't say, "Hey, how are you doing?" That's what most cold callers do, or amateur people that trying to generate leads over the phone do. Okay, they sound like telemarketers. So notice that she did a good job. She didn't say, "Hey, how are you doing today?" Okay. Um, Now the other great thing she did is that she said something private. Okay, not if I was a cold caller, I wouldn't know that this gentleman would live in the specific city. So she said something that only he knew, and then listen to his response. He was like, "Yeah," he was very, very happy. Which is the two things I want you to notice is that she had a great intro. Okay, she said something private, and she didn't act like or flock like or walk like all the other ducks. Which is, "Hey, how are you doing?" Okay, so I'm gonna rewind it just a tad.
I'm calling about your house in Plano.
Yeah. Can I help
Okay, listen to this. Okay.
Hi, yes sir. I'm calling about your house in Plano.
Yeah.
Notice that voice. And now notice the seller's voice as she goes further, because now she starts dropping the ball.
Can I help you?
Hi there, yes. I'm definitely interested in it. I do see you still have it for sale. Looks like you've been trying to sell it. I had actually looked at your house a while back, so I see you still have it on the market.
Looked at it.
On Zillow.
Remodeling it.
Yes, on Zillow.
Yes.
Okay, so notice that his voice has gone down, that he's not so happy no more that he's on the phone with her. Okay, and the reason for that is that for the next few minutes, she's just been wasting time and talking. Okay, so okay, what I want you to do is to stick to the very end, because I'm going to give you an outline of all the stuff, what I call the foundation, the skeletal system of a cold call. Okay. Now, please listen to earlier. I rewinded it because I want you to listen to the seller's happiness when she called because she did it correctly, and then listen to the seller's voice, how quiet he becomes. He's thinking about telling her to, F herself in a sense, but he's just waiting around because he's still probing. He's not sure if this is a buyer, if this is an agent, etc. So one of the most important part is that when you're cold calling, and you're trying to generate leads as a real estate investor, as a real estate agent, as a business owner, is that you got to talk 20%. The seller has to talk 80%. Again, it's totally opposite than what most people do. They talk a lot when they're calling people versus having the seller talk. Okay? So let's rewind that just a tab and listen to it again.
Market. I do see you still have it for sale. Looks like you've been trying to sell it. I had actually looked at your house.
So she's saying right off the bat, it hasn't even been like a minute into it, and she's saying mean stuff to the guy, like, hey, I see this for sale, you haven't been able to sell it, right off the bat. So those things are what I call in negotiation. Imagine there's three lights. You have your red light, you have your yellow light, and you have your green light. When you first talking to a seller over the phone or in person and you're in the phase one negotiation, which is the green light, you don't want to attack them. You don't want to bully their ego. You don't want to throw mud or spit or punch them in their face in their egos, because what they do with that is they raise their arms up and they start protecting themselves. Okay, just like if I came to you on the street and I pushed you, you probably raise your hand up, right, or push me back. But if I came up to you and say, "Hey, man, nice looking hair," okay, you might give me a smile. Okay, or if I open the door for you, you probably give me a smile versus me say, "Hey, man, there's some ugly shoes," or etc. I hope you understand where I'm going with that. So, in the green phase of the light of negotiation, you don't want to be fighting with the seller. You don't want to be on opposite fences of the seller. You don't want to contradict the seller. You don't want to. What you want to do is gather information, and you want to agree with the seller, or if you don't agree with something they say, you want what I call neutralized words. You want to say, okay, sure, okay, instead of saying, no, I think this. You don't want to do that, because what you're doing is, again, you're creating separation, and you can't get the deal with separation if you're dealing with motivated sellers. Now, this strategy on the phones is good when you're dealing with homeowners direct. So if you're an agent, you're trying to get a listing, or if you're a seller, a buyer, cash investor, wholesaler, fix and flipper, whatever it is, you're an investor and you're trying to find motivated sellers direct. This is the perfect for it. But this type of negotiation is different than if I was dealing with a real estate agent or if I was dealing with a bank-owned property, etc. Okay, so this cold calling is to generate, again, 60 cents on a dollar deals, or to get seller financing where we don't have to go to the bank. So in this case, we have to, I don't want to say bow down to the seller, but at no instance we have to be a greater person and not let our ego, beat that seller up like she's just kind of did. But it was only a quick jab. It wasn't like a big punch, because it was like, boop, and then she kept going. And notice that there was a silence after that.
So you still have it for sale. Looks like you've been trying.
Okay, so instead of asking a question, she's making a statement. Okay, so let's listen to this. Both of those points I made is going to come right now.
I do see you still have it for sale. Looks like you've been trying to sell it. I had actually looked at your house a while back, so I see you still have it on the market.
That's the jab. And notice the silence.
On Zillow.
Okay, see, and the guy's still like, he's not liking it. His voice has changed. He's being more quiet.
Yes, on Zillow.
Yes.
Did you remodel it, or did you?
Yeah, I sure did.
Okay.
Okay, now she's having a hard. She started really good. The guy warmed up to her. She used my technique, which I call the 19-second rule, which I've done a video about that. It's solely for free, guys. And I also have it in my cold calling product. I think it's like $97. You guys can download it at mrnotebook.com. But she started really great using that strategy, and then she started jabbing the customer, or in this case, the home seller, the motivated seller, putting him down like, oh, it's still on the market, it still hasn't sold, right? Really hasn't told the seller, anything good, right? And instead of now, she's having a hot friction. So instead of fixing the friction with open-ended questions like, hey, right, this is a beautiful home. Why do you want to sell it? What's your situation? Or open-ended questions like, for example, what I have in my Ninja phone script. So if you don't have my Ninja phone script, you're missing out. Okay, and I'll talk about that a little bit later. But what she does is she asks closed-ended questions like yes or no. Like she says, hey, I see that was renovated. And the guy's like, yeah. Now let's keep going.
You fixed and flipped it?
No, I'm right now. Are you calling me on the rent or to buy?
To buy.
Okay, so right then and there, you know this guy is a motivated seller because he is trying to sell and he's trying to rent. I mean, it doesn't get any better than that. And so the guy, he's motivated. That's why he's not telling her to F himself, because she surely, clearly has jabbed the guy already with saying once or twice and done a lot of talking and not ask any questions to gather information, okay? And she's made assumptions like on the guy, regarding the rehab and the reason the guy's even sticking around, because most sellers, for myself, I would tell her to F herself and hang up the phone, because now she's wasting my time. She's into the conversation for, a little while now, and still having, built a rapport with the seller, still having difficulties. And instead of asking open-ended questions to get the seller to talk, she's just asking yes or no questions. Have you rehabbed? Have you done this? It's just a yes or no question. Okay. Now let's keep going.
Okay. You're a realtor?
No. I'm not a realtor.
Now, guys, one thing that I also teach at the Abundance Club and also in my cold calling course is that you have, if for example, if I'm an investor, I have to tell the seller, I want to buy your home. I can't be all wishy-washy, or I can't be like, hey, I just want to go look at it, or just give you some numbers and see if the numbers work for me. No, you have to be strong. You have to let the seller know what your intentions are. So, she's into it for a while now, and the guy's trying to figure out, are you a realtor? Right? Where if the guy was talking to me, I would let them know instantly, hey, I want to buy your home. It looks beautiful. I want to buy it. Right? Let them know who I am in that sentence, but more importantly, my intentions, which is I want to buy this property. I'll let them know I want to buy your property. We're going to make it work. If you're motivated, I'm motivated. I want to buy it. Okay, there's consider it sold, because there's so many tools that I have that could work with the seller. If the seller wants to sell at a deep discount and fast, I can do it. If the seller wants to get full price, I can do it. I can do any other deal underneath the moon and the stars, as long as the seller likes me. Okay, which brings me to the next point, is that her and the seller right now are not buddies. She's done another video, cold calling, and I'll bring that. If you guys want it, just leave a comment below. Say, yeah, I want that other video, and I'll upload it. She improved a lot more because I have already given her the coaching. Okay, so other thing I want you to listen to is, let's keep going.
Again, I'm glad you're calling.
Okay, so the guy's not coming back. He's like, oh, you're a buyer, not an agent? Well, I'm glad you called, but he doesn't sound like he's so enthusiastic, or he's had so much energy like before, because he was so happy that she had called.
Okay, well, what could you tell me about the property? As far as I can see, it looks like it's ready to be moved into.
Okay, now this is a very, very rookie mistake, and many of my students do the same exact thing. They ask a question, two parts. They ask a question, and A, they don't stay silent for the seller to respond. And then B, they ask a question, and then they answer that question for the seller. Okay? Which leads to C. Okay, because this time she was smart. She wouldn't look online and notice the place is beautiful. But a lot of times, the students or the investors or the agents, depending who I'm working with, or any business owner, when they're calling the home sellers, they're asking a question, but then they're answering it, or they're assuming that they're not going to be motivated. They're not going to take that term offer, which is seller financing, or they're not going to take that 50 cents on a dollar offer. They'll say you wouldn't be interested in selling your home 50 cents on a dollar. Like with no confidence, you wouldn't, like, already assuming that it's not going to work. So let's listen to this one more time. She asks the
Okay,
question.
what could you tell me about the property as far as
What can you tell me about the property? Should just be quiet right there and let the guy talk.
I can see? It looks like it's ready to be moved into.
Okay, so if she already knew that question, why would she even ask that, right? If you already know it, like, why are you wasting sellers' time? Because the only thing you're trying to do is build rapport. Now, again, what is building rapport, guys? I can talk about this all day. I actually have a course, cold calling for profits. Right now, I think it's for sale. I can't remember. It's $97 or $197. But go take a look at it. It's normally $250. So go check it out at mrnoflip.com. But one thing I can tell you is that building rapport is the most important thing when you're dealing with motivated seller, when you're dealing with homeowners direct. So if you want to buy a house direct, it's you building a relationship. Okay, is them talking 80%, you talking very little. It's about them liking you. It's about you putting down your ego and your I want to make money. I want to make money. Let me ask you all these questions. Let me do all this stuff. It's not about you. If you can forget about you and make it about them, where you're trying to solve their problem, where you're trying to help them out, even if you don't make any money, okay, that's when you can get the deals.
It's been pretty model all kind of not a real concept, I guess. See that the picture is correct.
Yes. Okay.
So what I'm
Mm-hmm.
looking to do, first of all, let me ask you, pre-approved finance or anything like that?
We're cash buyers, so we actually buy the properties and we buy them cash. We don't go through a bank.
So y'all are investors.
Correct. Yes.
Okay. Pretty sure what you can do is you can do your comp on find out. I now got it listed the 350.
Mm-hmm.
I've got houses, but they're up and whatnot. I've the house listed for 359, if I remember correctly. I'm negotiable on it, especially if I'm gonna get an all cash offer. And if I don't have any room involved, we'll let you know up front. Be more than happy to be negotiable. And what happened with the house is beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
What happened to me was a life change, a life new direction. I want to move out to the east, and so I'm sell it and take the money, sell, and buy me a lake lot.
Very nice.
Well, when I say lake, I said that wrong. But a lakefront property house. I don't want a house. I just lake lot. You try to build a house. I want to do that.
Yes.
So I'm looking at going to Lake out in East Texas. So
Very nice.
What's your name?
My name is Soraya.
Okay, Soraya. Have we talked with Soraya?
We have not. This is our.
Okay, so after a bunch of friction, after a bunch of small talk, which means small questions like yes or no questions, which are great if you're trying to gather information, but you're not having the seller talk and you're not having them warm up. After that, then she finally got into a question about, hey, what do you like the property about? And the seller first had hesitations because he said, hey, are you pre-approved? And she did a great job letting the seller at this time know, hey, I'm actually a cash investor, so I'm not going to go to a bank. Okay, so then the sellers start warming up, talking about their lives, that they want to leave the big home. They want to go to the small by the lake. They want to escape the big life, the hustle and bustle, and live by the lake. And they don't need nothing fancy. Just a lot. A lot that she can maybe go pick up because those are pretty easy, and maybe even do a house swap or something like that with the seller. So the seller is motivated, but it depends on how you handle the conversation. The way she's handling the conversation is a lot, you know, uh, with no confidence, without any credibility. She's not building rapport with the seller, but she is trying to build rapport with the property. So there's two types of rapport building you need to do uh, in cold calling when you're buying houses or if you want to get a listing. One type of report building is with the property, like, hey, you want to know the property, okay? The other type of report building is with the seller themselves emotionally, like, who are they? What is the ambitions? What are they trying to do? Like this guy said he wants to move to the country. And so I would, if it was me, I would talk to him more about like, hey, how I feel like that. And that's why I give all my stuff up to the homeless. And that's why I went camping across the country. So I would build rapport with them in that sense, where it's my soul, we're touching his soul, and say, look, man, we're brothers and sisters, and we have similarities. Okay, so when I say rapport building, that's why you got to get my courses. Different types of rapport building. She's doing a great job trying to get rapport building on the property. What do you like about it, etc. But she hasn't done any rapport building on the seller himself, and and having similarities, and say, hey, Joe, I'm just like you because I like to watch X-Men and you like to watch X-Men, for example. But that's very stupid and surface level, where deeper would be like the guy wants to leave the hustle and bustle, and like my story where I was in the same situation, having 3 businesses, rental houses, and say, look, dude, I did the same exact thing, and then we would become almost friends if I could turn it into, okay, because really you're becoming a friend in that very short period of time. You're letting go of your ego. You're killing yourself in a sense that you're not trying to make the money. You're trying to help someone out, and sometimes you'll make no money, and sometimes you'll hit some home runs, and sometimes you'll make something in the middle, and everything's going to work out for you. So your only job is to be an authority by helping them. You're not going to waste their time. You're going to, have your brain on so you can ask questions. You're going to try to remember what they say. You're not going to be an airhead. You're not going to say, oh, I forgot my tool, or, yeah, I remember you just answered that 20 minutes ago, but can you repeat that again? You're not going to do that kind of stuff, because that doesn't make anyone feel good, okay? Because if you're a cash buyer, or if you're someone with, that has done a lot of hard work to get where you want to be, you know that you're not going to have those flaws or impurities in yourself. Like, through that hard work, it's like you transforming into gold, which means that all those impurities will be burned up, dude, in the heat, okay? And so that's what I'm saying that you guys should bring to these home sellers, is that you're working hard, you're trying to put your ego away and put your money away and focus on helping that seller with their situation. Now, a lot of solutions you can provide to the seller. If you don't know what the solutions are, then you go to mrnofluff.com. I have a course on how to negotiate with motivated sellers. Then you use some of those negotiation strategies that I have in there, depending on what kind of motivation the seller has, and then I have a training on what type of negotiation you would use with them, because I've talked to so many sellers, and I've been doing cold calling since high school, that basically there's different psychological groups that sellers fall into, or people fall into, and you got to figure out which one that is, and you're going to do that through open-ended questions. You're going to do that through not talking. You're going to do that through by being quiet. You're going to do that by having good listening skills. When I say don't talk, doesn't mean that you're thinking about your problems or your future. You're actually listening to the seller, and you're bonding with them. Okay, so you can identify what type of psychological group the seller is, so you can give them the right antidote or the right medicine, which is the negotiation no fluff strategy that I have. You guys definitely should go download that and the phone script, because one of the other problems with her is that she has the phone script, but she's not asking the phone script questions. Okay, she's not sticking to the script. She's going off subject. She's asking questions like down the line you'll hear it that are not in her favor. Okay, and that's what the problem with many of my students is that I'll give them a successful script or I'll give them a successful blueprint, but somehow, or a successful ingredient, and they've never done it before, and then they go change the ingredient. Right? It's like you never made this dish before, and then you go start changing the ingredients, and you don't get the same dish, right? And so that's not only her, but many of my students. I'll give them, okay, hey, flipping Wednesdays, just copy and paste these messages, and they don't do that exactly. They may change it just a tad, and it doesn't work because, well, you're not getting the same. You're not going to get the same results if you're not building confidence in the seller. If you're not acting like you're listening or you care, or if you only have your interest in front of you only, which is, let me ask all these questions back to back like a police officer or something. Okay, let's keep going forward.
The first time speaking with you.
Okay. Because I understood you that we'd already seen it before or something, and I couldn't remember. But anyway, maybe I missed it. I'm on the phone. I'm definitely on the phone, but I'm on the road. That road noise kind of muffling you out a little.
Yeah, it is breaking up a little bit. Well, the house is definitely beautiful. Now, did you do all the work yourself, or how long have you had the property?
I contracted it.
Okay.
Beams in. I put big beams where I took out bearing walls and stretched them across to the outer beam, the outer footings. Sure, we had everything, but everything in there is fairly. When I say fairly, bought the house. Guy had changed condenser outside, the hot water heater.
So notice that all the report building and all the gathering information is about the property, which is another pro, mid-level, and rookie mistakes that I see all the time people do, if I could group them in. They put all the energy on the property. Well, like, what is the ARF? How much do I have to put in repairs? How beautiful the house is, what kind of cosmetic you've done to it or haven't done to it, which is great, and you need to know those questions, okay? But that's down the line. For example, if you're going to make a certain kind of food ingredient, you would have to go in a strategical order, like number 1, number 2, number 3, step 3, step 4, step 5. You couldn't go step 7 and then 3 and then 2. It wouldn't come out the same thing. And the same thing is happening here, and I see it with a lot of my students, okay, that they're just not following the script that actually works, okay? And so this question she asked kind of would help out, down the line, but it really wasn't important, and she's been wasting a lot of the seller's time. So what she needs to do is shift from the property report building into the seller. Like, why is the seller trying to sell? What is the seller's motivation? We kind of know that he wants to move because he wants to downsize. He wants to get out of the big city. Because is he trying to downsize because he's not making enough money? Is he trying to downsize because he has a lot of money? Is he trying to downsize because he's lost his job? And we don't know any of that stuff. But we are getting a good understanding of what the property looks like, because she made an assumption that, hey, the property's ready to move in, and it's in great shape. And so talking about a lot of stuff that we already know, okay? And that's not going to help us to get a deal, because the property itself is not the deal, right? That's why, people they think they have a bad property, and then they sell it and someone else makes a lot of money out of it. So the property is not the deal. It's the human person of it, the way they manage themselves financially, the way they manage their emotions. So the human is what was called motivated seller. We're not looking for motivated houses, because there is no motivation houses. Houses don't have feelings and emotions. Okay, so what I want is report building with the person that has the emotions. Okay, the property information to me is the least valuable. Now, I may go into it and say, hey, what do you love about the house? You know, etc. Just to get my feet wet. But my real goal is not to learn about all that stuff because I can pull that stuff up. I can look at it online. I can go visit the property down the line when I have it under contract. But I'm not going to do any of that stuff till I know if the seller is motivated. Because if I don't have a motivated seller in front of me, then I'm just wasting my time. So my first goal is to, build rapport, not talk a lot, ask open-ended questions, right? And then find out why is the seller trying to sell. Okay, if the seller is low on cash or if the seller is going through emotional distress, then those are the sellers what we call motivated. If they don't have any of those symptoms, then they need to get a real estate agent, right? And then I'll refer them out, right? This is where the situation is like, I don't make any money. I just give it might go get a real estate agent. Say, here you go, and rub their back, and you got to be okay with that. All right. So let's move forward.
Mm-hmm.
And had put in a brand new, I'll call it brand new, say that.
Oh, before I forget, guys, definitely you want to join my mastermind. We meet every Saturday for $19. It's a massive sale right now on it. I want to get as many of you guys in there to help you make a lot of money in this upcoming crash. Normally it's $1,000 a month, but right now you can get it for $76 a month at mrnofluff.com or theabundanceclub.mrnofluff.com. Let's keep going forward.
But fairly new double oven, the top of the line oven, and I put in a dishwasher and put in that island that you've seen. It's all granite countertop. Not only in the kitchen and the island, it's a little warm, but also restrooms. It's got 3 restrooms, 4 baths, 3 bathrooms, 4 rooms. God, I don't know why I'm getting all tied
4
up.
beds.
But new texture, very open concept.
Okay, the other thing I want to let you guys know is whenever you're on the phone, you have to have phone etiquette. For example, when the guy is talking for a long period of time, you need to let them know you understand. So you just say, oh, got it, yeah, you don't interrupt them, but just quick, yeah, okay, when he's talking, so you let him know that, hey, you're still on the line, there's reception, you understand, etc.
Hardwood floors, the Cali bamboo, hardwood floors. So very nice.
It is very nice. Well, it's actually a very beautiful house.
So this is where I would say reconfirming to the seller, because I do it in the very beginning, in the first 19 seconds, is say, hey, this is a beautiful home. I want to buy your property. So the guy gave a great description. She should have said, look, man, I want to buy your property. Consider your house sold, right?
The little drop, they come over the eye and whatnot.
Now, some of you guys are going to say, well, Mike, why are you so confident? Because if the seller is motivated, I'm confident that I can create a win-win situation. Okay, it doesn't matter if they want all cash, if they want full price, they just want to lease it out. It doesn't matter. I have all these strategies that I will use depending on what kind of problem, what kind of solution the seller is looking for. Okay, so what I'm looking for is a motivated seller. Once I have a motivated seller, I'm motivated buyer. We'll make it work. That's why I'm 100% confident that we'll make it work as long as they're motivated to sell, because I will come up with a strategy that makes a win for him and a win for me. Okay?
Okay. And well, have you gotten any offers for your house or?
Okay, see, this is where she's not following the script, my Ninja phone script. She's not. She's just pulling out questions out of her hat. Now, sounds like, I don't know, why would anyone want to ask that? Because it's not positive. It's not good for you. Okay. Now, maybe down the line, but she just recently got the seller warmed up. Before, the seller wasn't even talking. So that's again something that's going to be slapping his ego. Okay, he's going to throw his hands up and defend his positioning, as they say. Okay, so that's not a good question. I wouldn't even ask that. Okay, she already knew from the get-go, in the very first 15 seconds of the conversation, she gave the seller a jab, said, look, I see, I saw your house online and it's still for sale. So she already need that. You don't need to put it in the guy's face, okay? Not right now because we're in the green phase of negotiation, okay? Which is we're not trying to be on the opposite side of the fence. We're not trying to argue with the seller. We're not trying, we're just trying to gather information, and we're trying to agree with the seller.
I actually put it up for probably about a month, and I've been out of.
So he's defending his position.
Done anything with it in trying to promote it.
Mm-hmm.
There is a lady who does have it listed right, and she has not been aggressive with it due to. So I have a couple people look at it. People are interested.
So now he's complaining about his real estate agent, and then he's defending his position that there's people interested in it. See, you don't want to ask questions that's going to make the seller defend their positioning. Okay, that's creating separation. That's like, say you're on one side and they're the other on the other side. You don't want that. You want to be on the same exact side. So you don't want to be, this is the seller and this is you. You don't want that. You want, this is the seller and this is you. You want you guys to be right next to each other because you guys are like almost pals or buddies because you have similarities. And not only that, but you're going to help him and he's going to help you because it's a win-win situation. He wants to get rid of this house and you want to buy it. Okay. When I say you, I'm talking about me. I want to buy it. I want to buy this house. That's why I'm saying I'm very motivated. So I'm looking for a motivated seller. He's looking for a motivated buyer. So we're motivated. So we're not separated. We're like these two people. You don't want to be on the fence. You don't want to attack their ego. Saying, hey, well, have you got any offers? The seller's going to say, yes, I have. And okay, what does that do for you at this phase of the negotiation when you haven't gathered any personal information, like why do they truly want to sell? Again, you're just talking about the property report, which is great. You're building a report with the seller on the property, but not on their own emotional situation. We want emotional sellers, not emotional houses. Okay, so you got to make sure you understand the questions you ask. Questions or words are very powerful, and you got to make sure you use the right words. Right. For one example is in my Ninja phone script. That's why you guys got to download it. Okay, I could just pull it up for you real quick. But in my Ninja phone script, one thing that we do is we separate. Okay, we separate the seller from their ego, because if you can't separate the seller from the ego, then you're going to have major problems. One example is that in the Ninja phone script, we never asked the seller, well, how many months are you behind? Because I'm attacking their ego. But what we do ask is, how many months is the house behind? Okay, so here's a Ninja phone script, guys. It's normally $325. You get almost like a 45 minutes or hour video training how to talk to sellers in depth. You get the phone script. You also get how to give offers to the seller. It's a multi-level phone script. It's just not a phone script, okay, like a generic phone script. And there's logs, multiple pages, training. You can read about it right here. Right now you can download it for $197. Also, calling for profits. I was wrong. I thought earlier I said it was $200. Right now I have it on sale for $97, guys. So definitely go on there. And the Abundance Club is $76 a month, guys, per month. Okay. Let's move forward with the cold calling, guys. Bear with me. You know what, guys? Why don't we do this? If you're interested and you want to hear this whole video, you can download it for $197 with the coaching on it. Okay, just go to mrnofluff.com, send me a text on the top, and we'll get it to you. Okay, for $197. Better yet, if you want to become part of our family, where we meet every Saturday for 1 hour. If you can't make it, you got kid football, you got to work. I totally understand. Okay, here's what I do for you guys is we record the meetings and we send it to you. More importantly, you send your questions in before the meeting, and we'll answer those questions for you even if you're not there. So how great is that, dude? What technology is allowing us to do that? Okay, so if you want to be part of the family, you want to meet with me every Saturdays, ask me questions direct about your business, your real estate, how to hire virtual assistants, how to cold call, how to set up owner financing, then join me every Saturday at mrnofluff.com. Click on the Abundance Club. Again, we meet every Saturday at 10 o'clock Central Time. When you get here, click on this, and then you can go ahead and sign up, read more about it. We have tons of students that are very, very happy with the mastermind, and I'm very confident that it's going to help you in your business as long as you take action. I don't have a magic pill, but if you show up and you take action, you're going to see a lot of improvements. It doesn't matter if you're a real estate agent, or if you're an investor, or you're a moving company, construction worker, or you own a car dealership, or you own a karate studios. All right, guys, click the like button, and I'll see you in the mastermind. Peace.